Everybody's talking about AI, but nobody's talking about what it's breaking. It's not your systems, it's your clarity. And without clarity, your growth is just a guessing game. Welcome back to this Essentials episode of the Dataliction Podcast. I'm John, and today we're cutting straight to something we've been up close to in the real world. Every leader says that they want more clarity, but almost none of them are willing to deal with what comes first. The mess. You cannot shortcut the messy middle. You can't systematize your way out of chaos until you've actually acknowledged the chaos you're in. The new AI wave has made this, harder, honestly. It's exposed much of the growth strategies that were actually just being held together by duct tape, sheer force, heroic effort for those special employees. So today, we're not just talking about clarity. We're talking about what it takes to build it when your company is already in motion. Kind of that idea of building the airplane while we are flying, right? Okay, so let's start here. Growth creates mess. Growth creates mess, okay? You can't escape it. If your business is moving fast, I guarantee there's a pile of clutter somewhere. Operational, emotional, structural, or all of the above. That's normal. That's, momentum is messy. But here's what's not okay. Pretending that, the mess doesn't exist just because you're too proud to stop and clean it up. Leaders get ahead of their teams, roll out the next initiative, throw AI at it, slap on a new CRM on top, and then they wonder why everything feels disjointed. I've been there. But here's, why the team wasn't caught up. The clarity didn't cascade. The questions didn't get asked, and now the company is confused, overloaded, executing, and then ultimately without alignment. So what creates the mess? Okay, what's actually creating the mess? There's generally two root causes. We've seen this over and over. First, identity-driven busyness. Identity-driven busyness. This is people are addicted to feeling useful. We adequate activity to value, so we keep ourselves busy, checking our inboxes, adding steps, layering systems. But perpetual motion is not progress. Eventually, that kind of thinking just buries a company in processes and noise. The second is appeasement instead of purpose. Appeasement instead of purpose. The executive team rolls out AI not because it's right, but because the board says it's time. Then they just force something through without trying to, making it back to the actual problem itself. Ultimately, that's why 95% of AI projects are failing, not because the tech didn't work, but because it was never connected to the real mission of the organization. Okay. So, this gets worse as you grow. The more departments that you add, the more translation you need. This seems like it makes sense. We miss it all the time. Data isn't helpful if the team doesn't know how to use it. Dashboards aren't helpful if nobody understands them. Obviously, they won't even use them. Systems aren't helpful if no one was trained to integrate them into their actual real workflows. You don't win by building the tool. You win by building the habit. The habits only happen when the people closest to the work actually understand why it matters and how it makes their jobs easier. Yeah, you guessed it. It's got to make it easier, got to make it better for them. So where do you start? Well, first, humility. It takes a lot of humility. Clarity doesn't begin with intelligence. It begins with honesty. The best leaders that we've seen, are the ones that are in front of their team saying, hey, I rolled this out wrong. I just got too excited and I didn't communicate this well. Let's fix this together. That kind of transparency, I'm telling you, gives your team permission to speak up, offer feedback, and actually get involved in building what comes next. Without the moment of, that moment of ownership, the team is just going to stay silent and then ultimately silently frustrated. The clutter will keep growing behind the scenes in that one closet over there. Okay. So second, clarify what you actually do for your customers, not internally, externally. What are you promising? What does success look like? What are the handoffs? Where are those boundaries? Whether you sell a product or you deliver a service, most of your operational complexity is tied to, vagueness at this level. People don't know how to say no. I'm one of them because they don't know, what's in scope. So projects then end up ballooning, and then deliverables will drift. Customers will then get confused. You want clarity? Start with the outcomes you're responsible for, and then just work backward, kind of reverse engineer that. I love the concept of reverse engineering. Third, ask your customers for the language. Okay, what are they saying? Don't build your message in some sort of a vacuum, some sort of marketing room. Pull testimonials, interview clients, ask them, what makes them stick with you? What makes you valuable to them? What makes you different? And then take those phrases and thread them back into your website, your sales emails, employee training. That's how you scale clarity, not by inventing it, but by harvesting it from the real world. And finally, document what you're doing. You cannot lead with clarity if your systems are scattered, and your data just lives in everyone's heads. You try to slap AI on that, it just makes it even worse. Even if your first step is messy, and it will be, write it down. Define the process, draw the picture, build the dashboard, then test it. Please test it. Not to prove that it's perfect at all, to prove that it's useful, kind of that MVP. Roll it out slowly, create the feedback loop, make sure people are interpreting it the same way, because sometimes people see things different. That's where the real clarity lives, in a shared visibility, shared expectations, and then a shared language. Here's the truth. Every business has a mess, some multiple. The mess is not the problem. The problem is when leaders ignore the mess, rush forward, and then confuse complexity with growth. But you don't need more systems. You need more, you don't need more hustle. You don't, what you need is better clarity. So if things feel off right now, you're not failing. You're just overdue for a cleanup. And the good news is that clarity is always within reach. You just have to want it more than you want to just keep pretending that you already have it. Okay. Hey, thanks for listening to this quick little episode of Dataliction Essentials. For your next step, I'm going to invite you. Please go to our website, dataliction.com. Sign up for your free, this is brand new, free 30-minute AI readiness consultation. You can fill out the form, see our availability right there, schedule your time. The intake form, it's a little bit longer, but that's because it has some of the essential questions to make sure that we make the most of, we will be super helpful with you in just that short 30 minutes. Just if it makes sense for us to keep talking about, things, we're going to introduce you to the AI adoption operating system. And we can share more, obviously, at the end of that call. But we just want to make sure, go to the website, start leveraging AI to help your team be all that they can be and to grow into the future better together.